Talk Central, Phoenix.
And now back for more Chips and Salsa.
Well, sir, while I may not agree with what you say, I'll defend to the death your right to say it.
It's a safe.
And we are back with the Chips and Salsa Show. And thank you so much for tuning in, Chipsters. I'm Alice Lara. Aquí con
Don Jorge.
We're here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. We've got a great show. We're continuing, but before we get to some business here, we just want to remember and remind you that it's somebody's birthday yesterday, George.
Yeah, it's, KJ, my little grandson, and he just turned 1 year old.
Yay!
Oh, that's
KJ.
sweet.
Happy birthday.
It's adorable.
First birthday.
His first birthday. He is adorable. If you go to George's Facebook site, you can see a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
And that's Sonia is the mother. Sonia was a
Secret
Sonia.
Secret Sonia.
She used to be our producer slash, what do you call it? Social media person. She did everything for us. I also wanted to wish a happy birthday to my nephew, Dr. Michael Lara, who lives in Las Cruces. He's an emergency doctor down there. And salute. Anybody else? You guys got birthdays to announce? Anything? No? Good. All right. October's kind of a big birthday month. You know, a lot of stuff going on.
I would just say one.
Yes, sir.
I guess you had the RSP, rest in peace, the Colin Powell thing.
Yes, go ahead if you'd like to.
I just want to just say our condolences to the Powell family. General Colin Powell passed away yesterday, and we send our prayers to his family.
Yes. Rest in peace. What a great life. Very amazing life. And, okay, let's just go down the list. Anything else we got to get? Good? Okay. We are going to tell you about a special event, so stay tuned. We'll tell you that in the next segment. And these guys are going to be a part of it, too. All right, so we are going to talk now to Darren Burch. And Darren Burch, welcome back to the Chips and Salsa Show.
Glad to be here.
Yay, awesome. Darren Burch is an author, Twisted But True book. I wore the shirt today. Da, 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 da.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful shirt. Thank you very much.
I need to get you one.
Melinda says she needs a shirt too. Okay, good. He also is, the reason that he wrote the book, he is a retired Phoenix police officer. And it's about his tales that are twisted and true of him being a police officer. And he's shared with us some before. Pretty amazing. And just like the book says, twisted but true. And I understand you're getting ready to release your third book, Darren?
It's a trilogy. It's official. It's a trilogy, Twisted But True trilogy. I was doing a show. I was the Crime Stopper Sergeant, Silent Witness Sergeant for Phoenix and Maricopa County, entire Valley. And I was on a radio show, a rock and roll morning show, where I would tell these twisted stories. They wanted those stupid suspect stories, but I had more dumb Darren dilemmas than twisted suspect stuff. So I shared these stories for about 2 years and had a following, and people wanted me to write a book. And so when I retired, I thought, I'll write this book as a fundraiser for Crime Stoppers. And so about $10,000 to date has gone to Crime Stoppers, Silent Witness here in the Valley.
Oh, you get a whole enchilada also.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, it was very difficult because you asked about birthdays, and October is my son's birthday. He passed away. So the book was dedicated to him. And at the end of the book, I had a hard time really telling the story, what happened to him. So I had a lot of people wanted to find out what happened, because it coincided with the baseline shooter and the serial shooters, baseline killer, and serial shooter case. So when I had to go to trial during his birthday of all days, so it was very difficult. So I kind of wrote about that, but I kind of didn't go into the details of what happened to my son. So a lot of the people that liked the book ended up becoming an Amazon bestseller. I thought I'll write a second one. I have a lot more stories. I have too many stories, but then I was also able to kind of put some details of that. And then I ended up getting with a literary agent. They wanted a third book, so now in 2 days the third book comes out. And and talks with oh my gosh, I probably shouldn't mention them, but different people like HBO and Hulu and Amazon Prime about the series. So I always kind of joke with people, you can see me on TV. I'm on ID channel on American Detectives on the ID channel. You can hear me on Badge Boys. I have a podcast, and you can read me.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And we should say, we're going to have an event. And I think we should say it now on November the 4th, I believe. Yeah, November the 4th at
Come on,
Say it.
try it. Come on, George, try it.
Antilupas.
No, it's not a chalupa. It's enchiladas.
Oh,
But like an ant, like your aunt, enchiladas.
You must really love chalupas.
Chalupas. We're going to
Do you?
Taco Bell.
It's a Freudian
really
slip,
love chalupas.
Georgian slip.
love their burritos.
So here's a question: can you order chalupas at enchiladas? I don't know.
I don't think,
I think you can.
But
Okay,
anyway,
so
the
tell 'em about
event
the
is on November the 4th from 4 to 7, and our guest Darren Burch, and we have our other guests here.
Melinda.
Our
They're
angel,
gonna.
angel on
We have
patrol.
invited them because it's an event for Moses Sanchez.
For his,
It's going to be a meet and greet because we had Moses on last week, and Moses is running for Phoenix City Council District 6, and that's where Sal DeCiccio is right now, that councilman. And it also coincides with
our anniversary for the
7th.
Chips and Salsa show.
And we're going to have going on our 8 years.
8th year, going on to the 8th year. So we're gonna have Darren Burch is gonna bring his book, and is gonna have a signing, a book signing,
Absolutely.
table set up. And if you want a book signed by Darren Burch, you can get it there. He's gonna have all 3 of his books there. So.
So it's going to be at the Enchiladas over there in Dreamy Draw.
Right,
and it'll be
Dreamy
from
Draw.
4 to 7 p.m. Come by. If you can be there for just a few minutes or something to come meet everybody, that's cool. That's fine. We're going to be kind of in the back room. There'll be some snacks. Come grab a drink. It's during happy hour, so
4 to-
that's cool.
4 to 7, right?
Yeah, right.
About 4 to 7.
So we'll tell you more about it as things progress, but we want to let you know. Moses is a super big supporter, Back the Blue, and this is a
Awesome.
Back the
We
We
Blue
need
show.
them. We need sport.
Yeah,
And
great.
thank you for coming down. He's going to come down and sign book signing. That's
Absolutely.
And Melinda's going to be there
fantastic.
too to
Melinda's
have
gonna
some
be there to
information.
Talk about Angels on Patrol.
Let's go ahead. So let's get everything
Please.
to,
Right.
and then we will focus on you. I promise. We have Angels on Patrol. We forgot to talk about the golf classic that
Oh my
you're going to
gosh.
have.
Yes.
Are you going to go?
Oh gosh, yes.
Right on. You want to tell them about this?
Yes, so we depend on funds because we cannot charge an officer for the service and we cannot charge victims to provide assistance. So we depend, we sit on the community. And one of the ways we're going to do it this year is as a fundraiser. We're having a golf tournament on December 17th. And any golfers out there, please sign up. You can go on to our website, angelsonpatrol.org, to sign up, or you can go on to, we also have a website just for the golf tournament. It's takeflightclassic.com. And if you want to sponsor the golf tournament, we still have opportunities to be a sponsor, and we do need raffle items. So just look on takeflight.com and angelsonpatrol.org for more information.
Excellent.
Yes.
Great. Good opportunity.
And it's going to be fun. Perfect weather. December.
Oh, it always
Beautiful
is here.
weather.
Beautiful weather, yes.
Beautiful weather, and then you can meet some wonderful people, like a good friend Darren Burch. Okay, so you're like going to be everywhere, and I think that'd be a great TV series.
Yes.
Yeah, they're short stories. They're about 90 stories collectively with the 3 books. They're not all funny. The book is kind of like a mishmash. There's many, many hilarious, where I'm chasing a cow down the streets of Phoenix, where
I love
I locked myself out of a car at the worst possible time, locked myself out of a patrol car. Right?
patrol
Again,
car.
a lot of dumb Darren dilemmas, and a lot of stupid suspects, people leaving their license at a crime scene, things, those sort of things. But there's also some very compelling, dark homicides, because I kind of worked everything from patrol to sex crimes to child crimes to homicides. So in one of the books, the second book, there's a case. It's that one case. And every cop, if you talk to cops, every cop, detective has that one case that means something that's compelling, whether it's the one that got away or one they still want to try to solve, or just one that just broke their hearts with the victims. And I had one such case of an elderly couple that was victims of a home invasion. Horrible, horrible crime. There's a sexual assault component. It was just brutal, murder. And it took me about 2 years until I was able to solve it. That one became a story on ID Channel called American Detectives with Lieutenant Joe Kinda. It's the season finale. So I'm on that. And then that brought them kind of looking at me with my 3rd book. So now we're talking about other things with the 3rd book. So, it's been a fun ride for retirement as a police officer. So you cops out there, enjoy your retirement, be prepared. That's what I really love about Angels on Patrol, because the job is too daunting to be a police officer. There's too many heartbreaking situations, and we talk about them all the time when me and Melinda talk, and having Angels on Patrol as that safety gap, that safety net, really.
It's an outlet for them to feel like, oh, I can do more. I can.
Yes, because there's certain things we can't do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
without having to pay for it.
Yeah, there truly are angels.
I think that I would put you two together and go out there to recruit officers, since we have such a shortage out there.
We really do, and it's not just Arizona; it's across the nation. I call it the horrible D's. There was the demonization of police, the defunding of police, the demoralizing of police, really the destruction of the police profession, and it was ugly, it was insidious, and sadly a lot of people bought into that false narrative, when, as we know, 99% of police are just wonderful. When you think about the bad cases, you can say their names: Breonna Taylor, Michael, you can say these names, George Floyd. There's like 5 or 6. There was 300 million contacts between police and citizens each year.
Wow.
300 million contacts between police and citizens. And you'll only hear about these same names over and over and over. And that's because it's a false narrative, this agenda, try to hurt police. And I don't know why. I can't read their minds. There's probably all over the spectrum of why. I'm sure some it's some type of monetary gain of some kind. Some is just their ideology. They hate cops, like Antifa. But whatever it is, unfortunately, they've been very effective. But what I found, and maybe Melinda can speak to this, is that there's so many people that are coming out now saying, we support police. The people that are being hurt by the lack of police are in the areas where they need police, the economically starved areas. Many black neighborhoods need police. And all these rioting, I kind of coined that phrase I talked about before the show. We had the roaring 20s in 1920. We have the rioting 20s. Today it's all about rioting, and it's just a shame. But I really do believe there's a paradigm shift at work here, where more people really are supporting law enforcement, are good citizens, and want to support police. Nobody likes a bad cop, especially a police officer.
And Darren, you were talking about those high numbers about the contact that officers are having. Just look at our small organization. We've touched over 17,000 individuals just locally here because of officers. So who's talking about
officers'
those numbers?
Hearts? Thank you.
Officers' hearts. So that number is, that's just the one that's getting reported because they're submitting requests. But how many officers are doing that silently?
Right.
Absolutely. I don't know how many times I've helped somebody put on a tire, change a tire, and have some extra money because they're hurting or something. Did it all the time.
Exactly.
And so when Angels on Patrol came on board, because of Jackie McConnell, who I love, and worked with her, a dear friend, it was wonderful. It's a perfect name, Angels on Patrol.
Yep, because you guys are the angels. Officers are there.
And you miss those stories. When I was a kid, the police officers, they were the heroes. You respected them, and that's how you were taught to respect them. And that's going away. And our culture is changing. I mean, just the other day, I'm on Nextdoor, and someone had a video, and a guy's right in broad daylight. There's cameras. He can see the camera. He goes right up to the camera, and he's clipping wires and doing all this stuff. I mean, it's incredible what's happening. And then you think a lot of officers don't want to be the officers anymore. They're looking at retirement. Why should I stay here?
There's a mass exodus, mass exodus of officers. If you can retire, you retire, because right now times are so difficult out there. You got, and unfortunately, we talked again before the show. We talked about the greatest generation in World War II and fighting for our country, and it's about the greater good. Service, service to community. I jokingly say there's an ingrate generation at play here, where they weren't even alive during 9/11, and so their whole idea is instant gratification from the internet. They see a bad video, they think that's indicative of all police, when it's actually either out of context or is a bad cop who needs to be dealt with. And we're the first ones that want them fired. So transparency is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. We're talking about the cameras.
Yeah.
They're wonderful because they can shed light to the truth, what's going on. But keep in mind, those cameras are one perspective.
Exactly.
It's one angle. You don't hear the sounds and other things that maybe a police officer is picking up, or the knowledge of the area. There's all sorts of things at play. It's simply one piece of a puzzle. So when we see these videos that come out and people are quick to judge, you're judging a puzzle by one piece. that video, and not even the full video, a snippet of the video. So you don't even have the whole video. You don't have the whole information that officer is dealing
You
with.
need all
NFL
those
replay
pieces.
when
And
you- when you're
unfortunately, I got to
watching a
cut you
game.
guys off because we
ahead.
got to go for a break.
Break time.
But say those stories. It's
We're
a
all
good
excited.
segment. It's a good show.
Get us going.
We're going to be right back with more. I mean, yes, you can see. You don't want to go away from this because we got to guac on some more. I'm Alice Lara here with,
Don Jorge.
and our wonderful guest, Melinda Cadena, Angels on Patrol, Darren Burch, Twisted but True author
Thank you.
and retired police officer. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Central City Radio, Talk Central Phoenix.
The Valley's home for podcasts. Talk Central Phoenix. Get the app on iTunes.
Like, okay, so I'm really confused because, like, my dad's Latino and my mom is white, so does that mean I can only listen to, like, half of Chips and Salsa?
That's the smartest thing I've ever heard anyone say about anything.
And we are back with the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Lara, aquí con...
Don Jorge.
He is the Alacran, the Scorpion King. Joey is all dressed up in your suit.
I need to
Fancy.
hear about that story, though. What's that like?
Yeah.
Or is that for another time?
Well, hang on 2 seconds. But also dressed up is Melinda Cadena with Angels on Patrol. Wonderful. You look beautiful today.
thank you.
And Darren and I
And not so dressed up. Typical cop.
But he is blue.
I do have blue.
Back-
I am
Yes.
representing.
Right on. Darren Burch of Twisted But True. Okay, George, tell them the Alacran Scorpion King
Well, I
story.
got bit by a scorpion. And I didn't even know it. I was driving, and I felt it, but it felt like a bee sting. But boy, did it hurt afterwards. And then when I stopped the vehicle and I got out, I shook my arm and the scorpion fell on a bark scorpion. The rest of the night was a nightmare because I numbed up and all the way to my cheek. It got numb. It lasted a couple of days. Everybody was saying, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. My wife said, suck it up. So I sucked it up. So, ever since then, that was about what
So were you
That
sucking
was
up the
when we first
poison?
started. And that's when we first started. We should have like every show and give a story because we had just started doing the show. So we decided, oh man, you're the Scorpion King, Alacran.
Twisted but true.
Everybody sees me as like, oh, El Alacran. Like, oh, so now it's like,
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, it doesn't sing like the Scorpions. That's an old rock group if you're as old as I am.
Ah, love scorpions.
So we have a wonderful show. Now, sometimes the show during the break is almost better than the show itself. So we might, just expand on that some more. If you just tuned in, this is the Chips and Salsa Show. We're here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. And thank you very much for hanging in there, chipsters, chipsteros. I just want to remind you guys, I am still kind of in Facebook trouble, so I'm not doing a lot on Facebook. I'm even thinking about going away from Facebook for a while. So
she
if you
wears
have
an
a comment-
anklet.
Yeah, I have a social media ankle.
Facebook jail.
Yeah.
Facebook
It's
jail.
bad. It's bad. But they won't let me go. I think I'm there for like another 3 weeks. So if I'm not posting, it's just that's the reason why. But I am on MeWe, and then also we do have a Chips and Salsa Show page on MeWe, which is fantastic. They don't censor, so you can put a lot of stuff on there. So if you're on there, please do that.
Too.
iHeartMedia,
Yeah,
right on.
iHeartMedia
That's our show.
and,
Now we aren't broadcasting on MeWe because I think you have to pay or something for that. But we're working on some different things. Just stay tuned. So let's get back to our wonderful guests, Melinda Cadena with Angels on Patrol, the true angels for the police officers.
We're not the
out there.
angels. No, the officers are
Excuse
the
me,
angels
the
on
officers,
patrol.
angels.
And
Yes.
officers think
You're like
they're
the
the
assistants.
Yes,
Yes,
we
yes,
fight
you're
about
our
that. So
angels.
yeah.
You're the assistant angels. Okay. And then so we have still an angel. Still an angel.
Yes.
How do you like that?
Once an
Darren
angel, always
Burch,
an angel.
Thank you.
Retired Phoenix police officer. And how long were you with the police force?
29 years with the Phoenix Police Department. I was a year with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office and 4 years in the military intelligence, which is complete contradiction in terms.
Salute, man. Oh,
out there,
that's a
way out
lot of
So
service.
you've dedicated a lot of
You
years
know,
to the
it's in our
community.
DNA, and you know that with dealing with the cops, it's in their DNA. It's not a fluke that police officers are running into the fire, running into the shooting, running into the problems. And when we talked about not a really good generation going on right now with the anti-police sentiment, you think about it. 9/11, it's fresh in our memories.
Oh,
And that's
definitely.
when police officers and firemen were running into a burning building.
Without hesitation.
Just insane. That, like you said, without hesitation. That goes to that DNA. It's in our blood for whatever reason. We love community. We love service. I've talked about it a lot of times. I've been shot at 3 times on the department, and I don't know how many times I've put my life at risk for strangers, and we don't care about the nationality, the ethnicity, the race, the sex. We don't care. It's all about helping community. There are a few bad cops, but man, they get usually weed up quickly. They usually
and
do.
I say it's not bad cops; it's just bad people.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
just
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
people.
exactly.
It's everywhere, and no matter where you go. And how you were saying how it's just selfless, but it goes to the extreme for you putting your life on the line to the other things where they want to house and clothe someone. So it's just
It's
you
our
just
heart.
want, you
Our
just want
heart
to
is-
heart
yeah.
and help and make things better.
Most of us cops were that silly kid who's always trying to help people with their taking out their garbage and walking the old lady across the street.
Were you a Boy Scout too?
I was, exactly. It goes to sense of community. It really does. You just
Service.
love service and helping
Yeah, because
people.
you're in the military, and then a lot of military, once they're out of the military, they become officers.
Yeah.
It's just that service heart.
Yeah.
And I do security work. Well, everybody knows for the Cardinals, and I work with a police officer at what they call the top of the ramp, Sergeant Butters, and I've been working with him for 3 years. This guy, he's got 17. He's got those stripes.
Right. Every 4 years we get a little stripe.
Yeah, and he's got like about a dozen of those stripes, and but what he does is he diffuses situations, and that's
Thank
what
you.
people don't understand. Some police officers, they don't just come at you. They'll try to diffuse the situation. Say, okay, what's the problem? How can we make this go away? And Sergeant Butters, I respect the guy. He's like, he talks people that are drunk people, because during a football game, people get drunk. He'll talk them down and just like, you know what, maybe you should consider not doing that, and just, and I respect him. I respect him because I've known him for over 3 years, and he's always been the same Sergeant Butters. I love working with him, and there's a lot of cops like
That's a
police
real
officers.
skill.
Yeah.
Really
When I wrote this book, not to segue into my book, but when I wrote the book, I found that most of the stories were exactly that. Talking someone out of suicide, de-escalating, and putting yourself at risk for the greater good. And now in retirement, I for this last book I was done. It was at the publisher's office. Everything was set, and I went on a cruise with my wife and a couple. And one of them was a police chief out of Texas, and we're on our first day on the cruise, and drunken debauchery, and this guy was going crazy, and so it was an interesting thing because the first thing I went into is we jokingly call it cop mode. When a cop mode to talk him off the ledge, he was going to hit this girl. I was able to calm him down, and it ended up being this gal who was like a. In the cabin next to him, had reached over and slapped him, and was just drunk. So she's, if you will, started it, and he was reacting. But he's big, he's drunk, he's upset, and it was, you could just see in his face, you could see the way he's pounding on the walls. He was going to hit her, and again, to Sergeant Butter's point, you de-escalate, you calm things down because you don't know the full story. We don't know the full story, so de-escalate. But yeah, that's the whole idea of the books. Really was to humanize police, so you could see why we do what we do and when we do it. The last thing we ever want to do is use lethal force. It's
like
truly
I
the
said,
last option.
To
It stinks with
protect
you.
and serve,
And that's
on all the vehicles, to protect and serve.
and that's your talent.
It means so much, and that's the truth.
It really is. It really is. And once again, I keep wanting to bring up there because everyone can give an example of a bad cop. They're out there. They're, and again, to your
They're
point, they're
provided to
people.
us all the time,
they're,
right.
Yeah, they're heavy-handed, what have you, and they are weeded out over time. They are, but there's very few because again, when you look at almost 1 million police officers in the country, almost 1 million. And if you thought about it, if you saw a bad cop video every day, that's only 365 days a year. You're only seeing 365 bad incidences of 300 million. And that's, you got to put that in perspective. Can you imagine people rioting because a doctor, misprescribe something? You wouldn't have these rights, you wouldn't have these things. And granted, it's a different job, but you just got to put things in perspective. And that's why when they use these terms like systemic, I hate that word because in 30 years, I didn't see one case of racism. Now, I'm not saying it didn't occur. I'm sure it did, but I didn't see it in 30 years. And how can that be systemic by its very definition? It isn't. There can be bad departments. I can't speak for all departments, but all I know is in order to do the job, you got to love to do your job. You got to care, and because it kills you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the amount of horrific horrors I've seen over the years is just the amount of children that I've seen die. You know, it grows, and that PTSD, if you want, kind of segue into that, the rioting 20s that we saw with Portland being attacked 100 straight days, officers. We saw that across the country. Post-traumatic stress injury or syndrome, or, you know, that is going to affect the police down the road. So you're looking at an exodus of police officers. You're looking at the demonization by a certain group of individuals for monetary reasons, for greed, for power, for whatever reason. It's the thing to do for the time. I think that has changed, but it still has had a very negative effect on police profession as a whole. And so now we need good police officers, and now we need for the people that were silent to speak up.
I think it's in a relationship, it takes two. So you need the officers, but you also need the community to,
absolutely,
you know, also.
It's a marriage.
It is.
I think you're absolutely right. When we come back, I want to talk more about that and give our audience some tips and what we can do, because I know that's part of your mission to bridge the community with law enforcement. You know, it's needed now more than ever, unfortunately. So we'll do that. So stay with us. We have one more segment left in our Chips and Salsa show. I am Alice Lara.
With Don Jorge.
The Alacran, Scorpion King, and now you know the story if you heard. And also
Melinda with Angels on Patrol.
And
Twisted Darren Burch. We got an angel and a twisted.
Twisted Darren. Yeah. But we'll be right back. So to go on some more
This
here on
is the
Central
Valley's
City
News Talk
Radio,
and
Central
podcast.
Phoenix,
Talk Central Phoenix, a Central City radio station.
Dudes and dudettes, need to chill out? Unleash the power of nature with handcrafted hemp extract. Quality you can feel, with passion for the planet. Get your herbal relief today at emeraldsunfarms.com.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
When you hear The Kevin Jackson Show,
You're hearing that they've mislabeled many of the so-called deaths. 10,000 people have died. But you know what they're also telling you? Overestimated the number of deaths.
then you are home. The Valley's News Talk and Podcasts. Talk Central Phoenix.
It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show. Vámonos.
I love chips and salsa. Can I listen too?
You got it. Take it away. Eso.
I love chips and salsa. Can I listen too? I hope that was the sounder that I heard, Julian. This is the Chips and Salsa Show. This is our last segment, so I'm so glad you tuned in today with us. I'm Alice Lara here with
Don Jorge Alacran.
And we have two wonderful guests. The first one is
Melinda.
And also
Darren.
So Melinda's with Angels on Patrol, and Darren is retired Phoenix police officer who is an author, Twisted But True, and is doing a great service bridging law enforcement to community, which is what we want to talk about in this segment. Oh, I do want to thank Julian back there behind the glass for your direction, owner and founder of Central City Radio, and I know you've got your assistant today, right? Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Appreciate it. So during the break, it's very frustrating. I know a lot of you, most of our audience, I presume, and I'm pretty sure it's true, we back the blue and we appreciate what our officers do for us. So give us some things that we can do as a community to help that to get along. I mean, I'm always telling, man, if you have anybody that's interested in becoming police officers, I'm just going to direct them to you or stuff. But
Absolutely.
Give us some tips on that, Darren.
You know, you brought up something at the break. She talked about she saw two police officers. She had to go out of her way to get to them and say thank you for your service. That goes a long way, because every time there's a patrol officer out there and some idiot with their YouTube desire to be famous will have that, they call them auditors, by the way. Have you seen this?
They get in their face.
Yeah, they get in their face. They try to set them up and bait them and so forth. And it's not just demeaning. It's just not demoralizing, which it is. But it's also dangerous, because while he's trying to deal with this person, he's not aware of his surroundings. He's not aware of if there's another threat, an actual threat, rather than just a social media threat. They're not aware of their surroundings because they're dealing with this person. And that video then will grow exponentially, and people will take it out of context, and it's just ugly. So when somebody like Alice walks up to a police officer and says thank you for your service, it kind of helps minimize that bad character, because there's so many good people, way more good people than are bad people. As a police officer, even as a police officer, sometimes we're jaded. We go from call to call dealing with negativity and bad things. But even if you ask your average police officer during the day how many good contacts opposed to bad ones, and there's far more good ones. There's people that truly care, want to help. We have witnesses calling about crimes that are going on. We have people that are in dire need, and we have a community coming together because, again, Angels on Patrol needs community assistance.
Yes.
It's a nonprofit. They need money, and you get the money. People do come forward and help, and that shows the good people. So to your question, what can the community do? Care, and you already do that well. You already care, but have a voice. We need that voice now. So when we have people going to the student board,
school board meetings.
School board meeting. Thank you. They're going to school board meetings. They're having their voices heard. Good for you. Do the same with police. If you find a situation where there's a lot of individuals wanting to defund, demoralize, destroy, be a voice. Absolutely, let your senators know, let your Congress people know, let them know that you want good police work. Defunding is going to create bad police. That's all there is to it. We've talked about the fear of defunding police is going to turn a police profession into a security guard profession. No offense to security guards at all, but that's not police officers. When you see these people that are rich, and Nancy Pelosi's of the world, they have a police force. They have security. They don't worry about defunding the police. They don't worry about destroying, dismantling. What they care about is their own power. It's really just about power with some of these politicians. So, and I don't care whether you're left or right. I'm not political. It's just we need to stop condemning what we don't know and jumping to conclusions. At next time, and this is what you can do. Next time there's a video, and there'll be the next video where the officer will be seen in a video doing something. Don't do the LeBron James and immediately assume they're doing something wrong and say, you're next, and get on social media and condemn what you don't know. Again, I talked about this in the beginning part of the segment. It's one piece of the puzzle, that video, and it's out of context. It's a portion of the video. You don't know all the facts. It could be real. It could be a George Floyd situation where it's absolutely real and that cop needs to go to prison. Or it could be something you don't know. Don't jump to conclusion. We need to be civil. We live in a community. We need civility.
I think that's very good advice. Where can they get your book?
Well, it's interesting. I now have a literary agent, so now the book is in bookstores.
Nice.
The third one's coming out. It's the first one's Twist But True, then Twist But True, book 2, Filling in the Cracks. Kind of, again, deprecating humor, filling in the cracks. And then the third one's Plugging Up the Holes. So, yeah, and that will be out in a couple of days. So by the time you hear this, you go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any bookstore, you can order it. But it's now in bookstores in California, and then it's going to slowly go across to New York.
Great. Or come to the Moses Sanchez Chips and Salsa
Yes,
show
I'll sign
event,
one.
November
You'll
4th.
sign one. You can meet him in person.
And where's that going to be, George?
But more importantly, you'll be meeting Melinda.
Say it, Don Jorge. Say it, Don Jorge.
Come on, George.
Say it.
On
Chalada.
Because you love chalupas.
Yeah.
Can I add something?
Yes,
you
ma'am,
made me
please.
think of something. You were saying how we can thank officers. So we came up with a token. You can go onto our website, angelsonpatrol.org, and we have a shop there. And there's just little tokens where you can buy, and then when you see an officer, you give them the token.
That's why she's an angel. That's truly angel.
Thank you, because
Yeah.
you know we're trying to help the officers, trying to help their morale, trying to help them.
And there's so many good people out there that are just sitting there frustrated by what they're seeing.
And they know what it is. If I had one and handed it to them.
Well, I have it on there. It says a token of appreciation for being an angel on patrol.
Oh, that's
yes,
very
it's
nice.
and I have it in my purse. I'll show it to you when we're done.
awesome.
Yeah,
We'll put that on our Facebook.
Yeah,
that way
that'd be
they
It's
can
like a challenge coin kind of looking.
yes, but yeah, limited budget, so it's a token.
There you go. And then they go to the website?
Yes, they can go on the website, angelsonpatrol.org.
Nice and easy.
That is
Angelsonpatrol.org.
fantastic.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, we don't do that enough. We really don't.
Thank them, because people say, like, how can I thank them? Just say that, just give them a token of appreciation.
People seem to want to condemn rather than commend.
and I'm-
and that's perfect. Wonderful.
Thank you.
That's such a great idea. This has been such a cool show. We need to have both you guys back on again.
Anytime.
To
Thank
do
you.
this, because we just don't do
This
it
is
enough.
It goes by
back-
fast.
Giving back to the community.
Yeah.
Sharing the stories with our community, with the community at large, and seeing that the patrol officers and angels on patrol, they have a heart, and they're not. You hear so much bad about police officers, and it's not true. It's not true, and it's only a very small, segment, and you'll find small segments in everything.
Thank you.
And good people. There'll be bad people involved and good people. I mean, there's.
George, I would challenge everyone too. If when you talk to people and ask them about their experiences with police officers, I'm willing to bet that most of the time you're going to have some pretty good experiences, whether it's just being stopped because they were speeding, or just different things you might have, or just the fact that maybe you're somewhere and you see a police officer and it makes you feel a little bit better because the officer is there.
Security, yes.
We're down to our last minute. Okay, 10 seconds for you.
10 seconds. Just appreciate everyone, supporting Angels on Patrol, because we cannot do it without the community. And thank you for giving us this avenue to share what we do.
Thank you, Melinda Cabana.
Thank you.
How about you, Darren?
Badge Boys, my podcast with Jason Schechterly, who we love.
Yes.
Everyone loves Jason Schechterly. Badge Boys is absolutely that bridge between police and community. And you go to badgeboys.com. It's on Star Worldwide Networks, thanks to our beautiful human being, Dave Pratt, who allowed us that format. And 2 years now, we have 150 shows.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Thanks so much, both of you, for being on. I'm Alice Lara here with
Don Jorge.
We'll be back next week, Tuesday at 4 p.m. here on the Chips and Salsa Show, Central City Radio.